All right, one thing about going to pistol is the midline and veer became so much easier to run than trying to do it under center. It gave the quarterback a longer time to read and everything else. So I had to make some changes for blocking reasons because when I was saying midline and veer, my quarterback and my lineman kept getting confused. Coach, is he the option guy? Coach, do I block that guy? These rules are so easy. I got to get this from Herschel Moore, legendary wing T coach. When I heard him speak at the clinic, I think he was pushing his 90th birthday, and he'd been running it forever. So it's really easy. Here's our rule. Army is midline, okay? Army is midline. And basically the rule is double the first man inside the A. So it'd be the nose of the one tech. Option and don't block the first man past the A, which is a 3-tech. First man past the A gap, don't block him. So it could be a 4-tech, could be a 5-tech, could be a 3-tech, could be a, I don't like running in a 2, but if they line up in a 2, we'd follow our rules and that'd be our read. We'd try to escape under and go to backer. The rules are the same for every play. Baylor, double the first man inside the B, option the first man outside the B. In this case, it's a straight up 4. I like running at our 5. Cal, double the first man inside the C. So anybody that's on this tackle, we're going to double it and read the first man outside the C. So double the first man inside the letter, option or don't block the first man outside the letter. You veer guys are figuring out that this is inside veer. This is outside veer. Now, if a true midline veer coach heard this offense, this is probably what they run at the freshman level. I don't need to get real fancy here because I still have a whole wing T attack. This is just the mistress of the offense. Okay, this is just the mistress of the offense. So I keep this really simple. I only run Baylor at a 1-tech. I run Army to 3-tech. I run Cal at 3-man fronts and always go outside. This is only at odd fronts. This is only even fronts. I run this at both fronts. Okay, coaches, I just explained that. Okay, a summary is right here at the bottom of the screen. What we do against even fronts, what we do against odd fronts. Again, I just keep it really simple because I'm not going to this bag of tricks very often. But here's my thinking. There's some stuff you have to teach your defense to stop wing T. There's some certain principles you have to follow. There's principles when you play a midline and veer team you have to follow. It really becomes assignment football. The two things you teach to stop those two offenses conflict. Wing T defense cannot stop midline and veer, and the midline and veer stuff cannot stop wing T. So let's go through this. So again, Army, Baylor, Cal. All right, so my steps. Does he open on the midline, get off the midline? It kind of depends where the double team is. Here's the rule on all 3 plays. When the quarterback opens and holds the ball out for the tailback, he wants the ball even with the double team. Let me explain. Here he's going to jump off the midline because when he holds the ball out, he wants the ball even with the midline because the tailback has to hug the double team. As this guy moves over, I'm still in Army, or Baylor, doesn't matter. Now I'm going to just open on the midline because when I hold the ball out, let me draw a dot for the ball. The ball should be right in front of the double team. That way the tailback can take the ball and hug the double team. So that rule applies for Army or Baylor. Now let's move this guy out farther. Don't like Army against a stacked player, a 2-tech. I could run it. Baylor's a little bit better play, especially if he's outside shade. Now the quarterback, whether I called Army or Baylor, now he's going to take a step and hold the ball out because the ball has to be in front of the double team. So whatever his steps is, just as long as he steps and moves so that the ball is in front of the double team. How does you know who the double team is? ABC. We double the first man inside the gap. That takes care of his footwork. So does he jump on the midline? Does he jump off the midline? Does he take a 6-inch baby step or does he take a big step? I get asked that at every clinic. There's all these. Well, man, if it's confusing all of us, think what your 15, 16-year-old quarterback's thinking. Now it's easy, right? Whatever Army, Baylor, Cal, Quarterback, get the ball in front of the double team. Well, coach, who's the double team? We double the first man inside the letter. All right, so there we go. I've got this all summarized so you guys can take notes in your living room. I've got some still pictures. All right, coaches, I want to point out some things. The ball's at 4. The quarterback's heels are 4 yards from line of scrimmage. You look carefully. So my quarterback's a little too far away. But that lineman doesn't look too bad. So, this picture is great because he's standing on the line. This is a 4-3 team that we ran a lot of midline that night against them, a lot of Army against them. Now watch when our quarterback opens up. He opens up on the midline. So there he is giving the tailback the ball, and he's reading the 3-tech. Now watch how far he shuffles. Now he's disengaged. In this play, he's actually keeping the ball. If you'll notice, all the white helmets are going in to tackle our tailback. You're going to see an end zone shot of a huge parting of the Red Sea. But notice how far the quarterback shuffle. On Army or midline, he's only going to shuffle 1 step. There is the end zone shot, and look how open that thing is. Okay, so the quarterback has decided to keep the ball and follow the insert block of the right wing up into that gap. And coaches, when I run midline against a 4-man front, that's just not one clip. You'll see some game clip. It looks like that every time. It's a very, very devastating play. That quarterback was the quarterback who threw for 2,700 yards for us, and his 40 time was 5.2. That was his 40 time. And he had 150 yards rushing that night. All right, so we've seen the still pictures. Now let's look at the blocking. A lot of coaches that buy the video, they're either coming from a spread or a wing tee background, and so Army, midline, and veer is new to them. So one of the things I want to tell you is Army is the only play in the playbook. Army is the only play in the playbook where the tackle blocks out. So we get a blocking out here, we're going to get a big block up, and we're going to read our 3-tech. Okay? We don't run this at a nose guard, and it's definitely a double option. We're not going to pitch it. This is a decoy. In fact, if we say Army insert, the motion guy gets up in the hole, and we have 2 wing blocks, 2 wing backs. We have 2 wing backs lead blocking. So he inserts no matter what. He bibs no matter what. And if we say insert, we get a double wing back lead block on the quarterback. All right, coaches, let's come back to the inside veer, which we now call Baylor. Again, I'm not going to get too much in the footwork. Just get the ball in front of the double team. Think give. Baylor's a give. Army is a keep. Army tends to be a keep. Baylor tends to be a give. Okay? You can ride longer. On Army, you only can do 1 click because you have to kind of bubble around the 3-tech who's tackling your fullback. On Baylor and Cal, you would like to be on or even past the line of scrimmage when your quarterback pulls the ball. That's a great veer read if you can get all the way to the line of scrimmage when you disengage. Okay, coaches, let's look at some blocking. We'll run Baylor against odds and evens. We don't care. We just want to run at the 1-tech, okay? So here it is against an odd and a double the nose. And, of course, it wouldn't change if it was an even front, okay, and they had a 3-tech and he was shaded over. It's okay. You know, we're going to run this at nose guards and 1-techs. All right, let's look at some game video. Before I get started on all these plays, Army, Baylor, Cal, I want to take a moment to talk about how I teach the handoff exchange. I get asked this a lot at the clinics. Okay, obviously there's a marriage happening here, and the tailback's making the read too. It's not all quarterback. It's 50-50. If the quarterback decides, see I'm pulling my front hand away, that's a give. That's telling the running back, take the ball. And it's be amazed how well the running back can feel that. If you're going to keep it, it's got to be a violent jerk, and you have to make the decision. You have to make the decision before he gets to your front leg. Once he gets to this front leg, don't be trying to pull it out. So we got to make the decision and violently pull it out. See with Army, Baylor, Cal, the quarterback's footwork, it's easy for him because the football just has to be right in front of the double team. So whether he's on the midline or steps off the midline, how big of a step is, whatever the call is, the quarterback has to know what the double team is. So, for example, this would be Baylor. We're going to double team that guy. And the quarterback just has to know that he has to get the football in front of the man who's being double teamed. Now, here we are in Cal. On Cal, we double team the first man inside the C gap. So that tells the quarterback, open crossover pivot. Here he's jumping back off the midline, trying to get the ball in front of the man on the double team. Okay, now we got an even defense, which is what we want to run midline against. This is our 12 midline, and now we can run to the tight end because they've shifted the way we want it to do. And you'll notice that the quarterback's going to get off the midline, and he's going to read the D tackle. Wave your hand, Matt. Wave your hand, Matt. That's our read guy. That's our option guy. And we're going to leave him alone. Our right tackle and our tight end block out, and our right half and our right guard take care of the linebacker. We have to double the A. You've got to block backside left tackle so the quarterback has time to ride and decide. 2, 3, 4, go. 12 midline insert versus an even defense. Okay, outside veer, which call Cal. I only run it at 3-man fronts. It's a killer against the 3-3 stacks. Okay, really want to do it when our offensive tackle is covered. And this is a good play when there's lots of blitzing because it neutralizes this kind of stuff. So it's 3-3 stack teams, and you're just getting a lot of combination of blitzes and stunning and twisting in here. So every time you try to pull somebody, you get all kinds of problems. G lead would be a good answer to this. Liz 28 reach, not O. Liz 28 reach would be a good answer to this. And our third answer to a blitzing 3-3 man is Cal. Because now with all that blitzing, this guy's on an island. And now we just cave this down and make a 4-man wall and read this guy. So our answer to 3-3 stack blitzing teams is G lead, 28 reach, and Cal. That's what we're going to do until they stop doing that crap. So what's going to happen here is kind of hard film there to see. There's our quarterback. You're going to see an end zone shot of this. Our quarterback's going to keep the ball in this play. So you see our tackle right here and tight end blocking out. Actually, he just goes up to backer because the read guy right there, there's a collision right there with the tailback. Right there. Everybody's tackling our tailback. And our quarterback has the ball. And what you find interesting is this kid here, number 22, he could totally make the tackle, but his eyes are on the tailback. And so he ends up running right by our quarterback right there. And before anybody realizes what's going on, quarterback ends up with a big, long 50-yard gain here. This is a 4-3 team. I always like running this stuff against the 4-3 teams. I think the angles are really natural. Here's the same play from the end zone. There's the read guy. He actually doesn't tackle our tailback. The wing that's inserting, accidentally hits him. That wasn't drawn up that way. Here's the same team again, but now we're going to give it. Okay, and the reason we give it is because that guy before, right here, goes running upfield. And so there's the give. The quarterback does a great job shuffling his feet into the line of scrimmage. So there's the handoff, okay? And get a good 2-yard shuffle before we disengage. Gives our linemen all time to go up. You see I've got a lot of hats on people, a lot of green jerseys blocking. And that thing really opens up. Our wing does a great job inserting inside the tight end's out block. Our tackle doesn't block out in 4-3s. Our tackle in a 4-3 knows he has to go to backer. There's the end zone shot of the same play. Same game, different team. What happened is our tackle, young kid from JV, screwed up. He's supposed to block out. Right there, but he doesn't. So what's happening is our quarterback makes the right read. He gets the 3-tack here, is tackling our tailback. Totally tackles our tailback. And then our quarterback realizing we never practice the pips. The midline for us is not a triple option. It's a double option. But our quarterback does a good job adjusting and realizing at the last minute there's a guy in his face, and so he needs to pitch it. He probably, when he pulled it initially, he's thinking he's going to run it. And he can't because of the tackle screwing up. Here we are in a playoff game running it. All right, so this should be our read guy. Tackles the tailback. Good read. Our tackle's supposed to block out, but the defender doesn't let him, so our tackle just takes him in. Here's Evansville with a give on midline or Army. Here's my buddy Gary White from Anaheim. They're doing a great job. So here's Army, the right guard right here. Does a great job with his escape to backer. Right there, grab grass, gets the bicep. And the 3-tech just sitting there waiting to tackle. There he goes. There he goes, tackling the tailback. And we get some great out blocks by tight ends and tackles. And a wing inserting up on their backer. And quarterback keeps it for a nice pickup. Real nice pickup. Gets out in open space and just becomes an athlete. Here's Uniota High School. Quarterback keeping the ball. Making a nice move. Here's Uniota, same kid. This is much better as the way it was drawn up. That one was kind of a busted play. Okay? They're in loose formation. There's no tight end. So they're having this wing take the role of the tight end and block out. There goes the tackle with his out block. And you've got a right guard right here trying to get up to backer. The 3-tech squeezes so much. There we got a linebacker and a 3-tech. A linebacker and a 3-tech tackling the tailback, leaving no pursuit for the quarterback. Now, I did the Union count. That quarterback is very talented. 6'2" kid, 4'7". We're going to bird dog this. This is inside veer versus an even defense. Aiming point is inside leg of the guard. We got an arm motion. We got to block solid on the backside so the quarterback has time to ride and decide. And basically the left tackle and left half just change blocking assignments from the midline. Here we go, fellas. We're going to bird dog this. We're going to run inside veer versus an even defense. 2, 3, 4. Good. Veer, full speed versus an even defense. Okay, here's Baylor. It gets an odd defense. Remember, it's the first man past the B gap. So in this case, that's our read guy. So since the nose guard is right here, that's the double team guy, the quarterback has to step off and get the ball over the double team. So you can see that for Baylor and Army against an odd, the quarterback and the tailback's footwork's the same. Really, the only difference is the tackle. On Army, the tackle would be blocking out. What's happening here on Baylor is the tackle is going to go inside release. The running back's going to go outside bob release. And that way, this linebacker can't be right. And that tailback really needs to do a better job hugging the wall. It's hard with bags and stuff like that, but he wants to hug that wall right there. This Black River Eye on our odd even drill. So he should be getting a double team right there. Chipping up to backer. Our option guy, that's our option guy. That's what we're reading. And this wing should be inserting up. I think I got him on a special little motion right now. Yeah, I went on L Toro motion so we can keep it and pitch it. All right, coach, this is some game film. So I usually call it 33 Vera. So it's 33 Baylor now. You're going to get an end zone view of the same thing. So there's the dive read. And he goes in, tackles our tailback. And then the quarterback's thinking pitch, but the pitch man goes after the pitch man. And so the quarterback cuts it up inside. Here's the same play there. And now he's got to pitch it right away. End zone view of the same shot. So we get a really good double team. There's the guy tackling the tailback. So what happens is the quarterback, because he pulls it out too fast, the defender can make a play on both the tailback and the quarterback. I remember this was a straight give. It was a playoff game, and I knew we needed to get to the goal line, so he didn't have any read on that. Plus, they were all dancing around. It was hard to see. So our left guard here does a really good job. Does a really good job with the down block. right there. That's our X receiver. That's a receiver. That's a lettuce eater because we're in Tubby. Right guard, right tackle, left tackle, tight end. So we're going to run Baylor away from the Tubby, away from the overshifted defense. Here's Espanola High School with a give. Great give right up the gut. Baylor to the right, 34 Baylor. Here's Okeechobee in Florida with another give because the defense end running upfield. Easy read for the quarterback. Just hug the double team. Here's Anaheim High School running Baylor to the left up to the top of the screen, 33 Baylor. Hugging the double team. Real important that you're a pitch man, your option guy goes hard because he can draw out traffic. Here the quarterback's going to keep it because everybody sucks in. Again, we're reading the defensive end. Reading the defensive end. Those two guys right there on the edge, they both sucked in. Quarterback keeps it. You see the quarterback's not a great athlete, but he's getting yards. He's getting yards. All right, let's go back to the classroom. Again, we only run this against three-man fronts. I talked about that. Take care of all the internal blitzing problems. Okay? So that's pretty easy. 3-4s and 3-3s are the only ones I'm going to run. Maybe a wide 9, but honestly, I've never done it. On paper, looks good. I just stick to the odd man fronts. Okay, this is 36 veer against an odd defense. We are trying to read the first man past the tight end. So because this guy's inside shade, our tight end's going to block down. He doesn't need help from the right half. The right half will go inside backer. And we're going to option the handoff. The dive read is this outside backer here. If the DN slid over on the tight end and he's head up on the tight end, then we would double. Go ahead and double, fellas. Step up. This is our dive read on 36 veer. Our dive read on 36 veer is right here. Now, if this guy slid outside of the tight end, now he's the dive read. But that doesn't happen very often. Okay, this is 36 veer. We're going to bird dog it. 36 veer versus an odd defense, and the tailback's aiming point is outside leg of the tight end. 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Good read. This is 36 veer, ran against an even defense, but they put their DN outside shade of the tight end, so now that became our dive key, and the outside backer now becomes our pitch key. So our read guy's right here. Tackles the tailback, quarterback keeps it. So all right, so we just get an R lineman, just K that thing down. You get a 4-man wall on Cal. Get it out there on the edge. There's our buddy Anna High School. She's running down here. Okay, bottom screen. Okay, so this is the read. They're all looking at the tailback. They're all looking at the tailback. You see his eyes, tailback's getting tackled. Not a bad athlete, but just an okay athlete. There he cuts up inside of the guy. So he could have gave it because his read guy actually went upfield, which is a handoff give. Okay, it's going to go away from the screen, off the Liz motion. Very deceptive because you got the Liz motion and the handoff. Quarterback did a really good job shuffling his speed and drew all that traffic inside, giving him the edge.